All right, good morning, everyone. We're going to share a little bit from our trip that we took down to West Virginia. And I thank so many of you for your prayers and all the donations. I'm actually going to read through the thank yous now. That way I don't forget them at the end or anything like that. Because you'll see here in the beginning, if it wasn't for all the donations and stuff like that, we wouldn't have been able to do what we were able to do as the 15 of us that went to West Virginia. We actually started out as 20-some, and then because of some health issues, family issues, and hurricane issues, we ended up with 15 that ended up going. But a thank you to the church, Mitchell's Fruit Farm, L&L, Heavenly Surprises, IGA, Bingham's Trucking, Dale Buckley, Stoffers, Mike Lessman, Care and Share, Merv Hoover, Abundant Blessings, Howes, Fremont Automotive, N&H Garage, Lulvers, Penny and Roger, Family Dollar, Bread of Life Outreach, Newport, Heidi Laud, Labor of Love, Oakley's Water, Topahalkin, and Tim. And Middlesworth Chips. They didn't just remembered that one. And hopefully we got everybody on that list. We did get a lot of donations and stuff. If you want to start there with the first slide. This here is us getting ready to pack the trailer. And if you see, everything that's in that picture is actually the stuff that was left over from the yard sale. So we started off having a yard sale to raise some money. The stuff that was left over that was decent, we kept and we packed into the trailer. And a little bit with the trailer, we went the last time down there and we pulled a trailer behind the pickup. We were going to go this time and pull 2 or 3 trailers behind the pickups, and we met our first obstacle with that. One of the trailers enclosed that we had that we could use, we found out wasn't inspected and things, and we thought, boy, that's a long ways to go without a trailer inspected. And we thought we had an opportunity maybe for a tractor trailer, so we thought, well, maybe we should pursue that. So we pursued that. No answers came back. It kept getting closer and closer. We started reaching out to some other people. We kept getting told no. And with just a couple of weeks to go, Dale agreed to doing the trucking for us, and I am very thankful for him going along with us and doing the trucking because it was a great blessing. But when we, as a group, decided to go from pulling trailers behind pickups to filling a 53-foot trailer, it became a new obstacle. We didn't want to take a trailer down there that was only half full. You can fit a lot of stuff. And if you go on to the next slides, here we are packing all this stuff that neighbors had brought and stuff. I think there's a couple more. As we packed up and stuff, Fremont Automotive left us use their trailer to go. There was Kim. She found a Hatfield and McCoy hat among the stuff. It actually even had a bullet hole in the side of the hat. And the funny thing is, we went to Yeager, West Virginia, which is in the county that the Hatfield and McCoy's battles took place in. That is where we were at in West Virginia, is right where the Hatfields and McCoys were at. So it was pretty interesting as far as that. And I think there's another one or two as we got loaded up and stuff. Everybody came out. A lot of community people came and donated stuff between the different ones, plus all the other thank yous. The community had a great response for the short amount of time that we left people know. So we did. We loaded everything up. There's the trailer. You can see, till we were done, the trailer was packed from the front to the back. I believe April's going to share as far as...
I will be honest, when we went to the tractor trailer, I thought, there is no way that we are going to be able to fill this. And my prayer was, Lord, we've got the trailer. Now please help us to fill it. And I thought of the scripture in Matthew 7, verse 7. Ask and it shall be given to you. Seek and ye shall find. Knock and it shall be opened unto you. For everyone that asketh receive, and he that seeketh findeth, and to him that knocketh it shall be opened. Also with filling the trailer, we had a lot of watermelon, we had cantaloupe, we had potatoes, we had tomatoes, we had apples. We had a wide variety of fresh produce. And as we were finishing up packing it that Saturday, I said, wow, wouldn't it be awesome to take some fresh sweet corn? And I thought, sweet corn's pretty expensive, but we have money. If we have to, maybe we can buy it. Tanya called me later on that evening, and she said Nate was away, and she said that they had extra apples from the thing that Nate was working at. And they were donating the apples for us to take. And he called Mitchell's to see if he could use the refrigerator there to keep them till we were ready to pack the fresh produce. And Mitchell said that would be fine. And when you come to get your apples, we'll have 50 dozen of sweet corn ready for you also. So we've got sweet corn, and we didn't even pay a thing. The Lord answered that desire of mine to be able to take sweet corn down.
Yeah, there was a lot of obstacles that we met, and every time that there was an obstacle that Satan put in the way, God gave us an answer to continue to fill and provide everything that we needed along the way. I think the next slide is actually This is Diane. She is the one that actually heads up the Little Sparrows ministry. Even as we were getting ready to leave, Saturday before leaving on Thursday, we packed the trailer. Wednesday night, we showed up to put the fresh produce and stuff in the trailer to leave early Thursday morning. The week that we were going is when the Carolinas were getting hit with the hurricane. When we initially looked at the weather reports from the hurricane, it was coming right through West Virginia in the part that we were at. So that was one of our obstacles of getting there, getting unloaded, getting out. We debated whether we should go, shouldn't go. There was a bunch of us that said, well, let's just at least go down, unload the trailer. You know, we got to get it unloaded sometime. We have this fresh produce and everything. So that's what we went through with. We initially said, well, we're going to at least do that. As time got closer and closer, we lucked out and the weather got nicer and nicer as far as what they were calling for. We were able to stay the whole time, and we only had a little bit of rain to deal with when we drove back home. So God took care of us while we went, and he also took care of providing all the stuff to fill the trailer. The next slide. This is actually the building. This is their new building. I don't know how well you can see it, but it's not exactly a new building. They said it was a skating rink, and I'm not sure if there was like enough room for maybe 4 people. It's a pretty good sized building, but nothing inside is flat, so I'm not sure how they roller skated. Yeah, maybe if you want to turn the lights off, you can see it a little better. It is a 3-story building. It has what they call a brand new roof. Before they got the building, somebody put a roof on, and they probably should have got their money back for the roof because it still leaks. If you want to go to the next slide, the trains are starting to move again. Some of the coal mines have reopened now, so there is a little bit of business coming back to the area. In that aspect, things are getting better. So here's some cool cars that are going. We did see quite a few trains go by right behind the building where we were unloading at. The next slide. The obstacle that we faced getting there in the travels, the ones that did go, we were all together pretty well. We stopped to eat lunch. We got back on the highway a different way instead of traveling back as far. And the GPSs that we were following and directions took us in different ways. The van went one way. We went one way, Nate and Tanya followed us, and the truck driver went another way. So before long, after we ate lunch, we got the whole way through Pennsylvania down into West Virginia, stopped for lunch, and we were all together. From there on, other than us and Nate and Tanya's in their vehicle, we were all going different directions. Our GPS, we went through the toll booth. It told us to take like the second exit and do a U-turn, which took us back to where we got on the toll road going the opposite direction as it told us to get on in the first place. So I pulled over to make sure that these directions were really going to take us where we were going and not just driving us around in circles all of a sudden. Eventually it did get us to where we needed to be. It got us back on the way. We were headed towards the place. We were supposed to meet them at the Dollar General that was down there in Yeager because we knew where that was, and we had no idea where their new building was. We were coming down through, and the van load with Jason driving was going in the opposite direction. So we thought, well, maybe they're going to find where we're staying for the night, because I knew he was down there before. He should have been all right as far as getting to the Dollar General. So we kept going. We got to the Dollar General and nobody was there. So the ladies went in to ask if anybody knew where the old skating rink was. And I think the one at the cash register said, oh yeah, like 30 miles from here. And we're like, no, it's supposed to be here in Yeager somewhere. And the one customer said, oh yeah, I know where it's at. And they said, well, can you go out and tell those guys where it's at? Well, he came out and seen, we both had trailers behind us and stuff, and he said, well, I'll just show you where it is. So he took us down, showed us where it was. Diane was there to meet us, and we told her, you know, we have this tractor trailer of supplies coming as soon as we find our truck driver. No cell phone service. They had talked to Jason. They were going back to Gilbert and see if anybody was back there. They soon made their way back to where we were at. Nate went into the flower shop next door. They said we could use the phone. We called Dale to try and get a hold of him, and no answer, which was no surprise. So then we started looking. I pulled out an atlas because we knew what road he was on last, that we had contact with him. It's like, maybe what direction should we head to try and find him? We were praying along the way of just trying to find our truck and getting it there. While this was going on, I think if you go to the next slide, this is the inside of the building. They are renovating the building, and I think if you show the next one yet, here in this corner, we got there and there was stuff in the corner, and we asked her, where are we going to put this truckload of stuff? And she says, oh, well, you can just put it there in the corner. And we're like, we have a tractor trailer of stuff coming. Where are we going to put it? There in the corner. It's like, no. So we started cleaning up because there was an old fan in there. There was all kinds of stuff. There was stuff on the floor. So while we're trying to find Dale, we started cleaning up the place, so hopefully we had place to put the stuff. So we asked if they had Wi-Fi anywhere, and they said, well, at the other missions, they had Wi-Fi, because we thought, well, maybe if Dale sees that somebody's calling him from a number that he recognizes, maybe he'll answer the phone if he does have service. So April and Tanya went over to the other missions, and as they were walking through the door, the phone was ringing, and needless to say, it was Dale calling to find out where he was going. While he was on his way from Gilbert to Yeager, he lost cell phone service. They got back and said he's headed this way, which now he still doesn't know where he's going other than Yeager. So Nate and I, we hopped in the van, and I said, we'll drive towards Gilbert, find a place where we can turn around and hopefully see him, and we'll cut out in front of him, and hopefully he recognizes us and follows us into where we were going. And sure enough, it worked. We got in there with the tractor trailer of supplies. If you want to show the next picture, this is us getting ready to unload. And got a couple of pictures here. This was the back of the trailer. We started to get things out of there. A couple of them from the mission did come and help as well. This is how we unloaded the watermelons. We just started chucking them. I threw them out, and Nate caught them, and we passed them down the line. If you want to flip through to the next, I think there's one more of the line. And then they just moved it all inside. We had produce, an extra produce box, so all the hand produce like that, we just moved it in and restacked it in the boxes. If you want to keep going there. That's two of the guys from the mission there, Anthony and Wally. Wally was there when we were there last time, and Anthony helped us, or was there while we were there this time. Different ones. We took a wood stove down as well there, and just the boxes, and we just kind of made a line and just passed everything in through. The wood stove we unloaded onto a back of a pickup truck to move it, to get it out of the back. This is the stuff inside as it started to fill up in the building. Till we got done, it filled the bottom of their building. Just a lot of water and food and clothing that we were able to gather and take down. I think a couple more there. And then the next day, the next morning, we showed up and we started to sort out some of the food and stuff. We passed out the cantaloupes, watermelon, a bag of apples, sweet corn, tomatoes, peppers, and all that fresh fruit, plus a bunch of the other fruit. I think if you see the next one, okay, and here's just everybody getting together. We got there that morning and started organizing stuff, and then we brought it out onto the street. I think, yeah, here's where we started to put it out on the street for the people to come then. There's another. This is one of their advertisements, how they get this stuff out. They use Facebook. They also use just paper flyers that they hand out. And the others, when we were driving around to get the firewood on one of the churches that was back in, they actually just had on their bulletin board, "Get your watermelon at Jaeger today," or something like that, it read. So that's how they get the information out in there. And then you could tell some of them that had access to Facebook and seen the messages, it seems they come first and they get, and then they say, "Oh, okay, well, I'll let Susie know back in the holler," and stuff like that. And they start to spread the word by mouth and just let people know that there's things there. Those were the water. We ended up, I think we took 6 skids of water. 5 or 6 skids of water between what we purchased and was donated throughout the different places. And here we just lined up the sidewalk there, and the people started to come and to get the stuff. This is when we were still setting up and getting ready there. We just put it out on the pallets and organized things that we had a lot of to be able to hand out. There it was before anybody came, once we were set up and ready to go. So we handled the stuff a lot of times because we unloaded it first and put it in the building. Then we brought it out of the building the next morning for everybody to come. And then we started handing it out to the people as they came as well. We would, as people would come, we would just go with them and let them know how much of the different stuff they were allowed to take. And it was just a steady flow of people coming. The cop drove through to make sure everything was all right because he's seen a lot of people out, so he came to check with Diane to see if everything was okay. So a little bit better response from the police than what we got the other time that we were down and they were worried about us parked on the street. And that's just people that came to get stuff and that we handed out to them as they went through the line. all afternoon. Yeah, a bunch of them stayed. They did that all day, basically, on Friday. I think it started at 9 or 10 that people could start coming. And some of them stayed there pretty well all day handing out stuff like that. The rest of us, the guys mostly, and Diane, we went to cut firewood in the afternoon. So we weren't there the whole time. Yeah, they handed out clothes as well. Once they had a little bit of time to start going through this stuff, they did bring some clothing out there as well on Friday to hand out. And what's that? And then, yeah, it should be coming up. That's what I was. And now here, the children were doing fingernail polish. They were putting fingernail polish on anybody that wanted to that came. So they had a couple. I think there's like 3 slides of that the different ones painted fingernails and stuff like that to give them. And then I think they gave them the bottle of fingernail polish as well for each one of them so that they could do it as well. And then they did haircuts. April and Tanya both did haircuts. April did a haircut for one of the first ones that were there. And she was just so excited about getting her haircut. She was going around and telling people, look at her hair and how she just got it cut and stuff. And she shared how she had family. She was so thankful. She just couldn't thank God and thank us enough while she was there. She had said that she had family coming up from the Carolinas, and she had nothing to really give them other than a place to stay. And if it wouldn't have been for us bringing the food and all the things that we had ended up taking down, there wouldn't have been anything for them to be able to give to those people that were coming. So it was a great blessing. There was so many of them that were so thankful. Couldn't thank us enough for everything that we had donated and give to the people. This here, we loaded up a trailer, or they did in the afternoon. It's Pastor Ricky is his name. He has a church down there in that area, and Little Sparrow's ministry works with his church and his ministry as well. He was pretty well out of stuff as well, so they loaded up some food, I think, and clothing as well that he could take to his church and be able to distribute to his people as well. While we were there unloading the trailer, I think it was April had asked one of the helpers, one of the regular helpers, said, how often do you get a tractor trailer load of stuff like this? And he said, we've never had a load like this before. That was the first time they ever had that much stuff brought at one time. And you could tell they were pretty well overwhelmed with all this stuff and what to do with it. They are not very organized people. They struggle with that. All right. And this is one of the additional times that we move stuff. We found out Friday evening that all the food that we put in the building had to come back out of the building. She didn't let us know that when we first unloaded this stuff, or we could have unloaded it a little bit differently and saved us some time. But all the food that we had left over yet inside the building, we ended up taking back out of the building and taking to their other building. So that's what we were doing there, and Jason was holding the trailer up, I guess, while we were doing that. Next picture, that's back to Pastor Ricky's. This here is in their other building by their thrift store. It's where they have the thrift store at now. That board in the center showed all the different groups that would come. We're on there for the weekend that we were there. And if any other churches or groups come down, they put it on that board. On the outside of it is different activities that they are doing. They have like a ladies' night, when they have their food distributions, and all that kind of stuff is listed on the outside of that board that people can look at it when they come to the thrift store. The thrift store, yeah, there you can see September 14th, St. Thomas Church, PA. So they just have different ones. You can see back in August there was a church from North Carolina, and also one the week before that from South Carolina. So it's supported by different churches throughout all over that bring and supply stuff. Next picture. This was Saturday morning. We went there to the thrift store, and that's where they actually bag up the weekend bag lunches for the children. So we went there, and all the food that we moved back out of the other building, this is where we took it to, so that they could make their bagged lunches. When we got there, all that stuff you see on the shelving is the stuff that we took. They had basically nothing. Their shelves were bare. I think there was 2 cases of chips and a little bit of something else I remember. A container of crackers. I think that's what they had as far as to be able to give for that weekend. What they do on the weekends is some of the families, they will take bagged lunches just for the children out and deliver them on Saturdays. So that's what we did in the morning. We got there early to be able to bag up the lunches. We were supposed to be starting early to do firewood, and their early and my early is not the same thing. I am used to a 6 o'clock in the morning start, not 10 o'clock in the morning being early. But we waited around it. The guys, we helped make the lunches for the children to be able to take out. I think we made 200. We made 200 bagged lunches that they could take out and distribute that day or that weekend. That's Anthony, a different Anthony. There was 2 Anthonys while we were down there. And this guy, he worked and helped out a lot. He was saying that he was hoping if we came back down again, he would like to come and work with us again because we were hard workers and we all worked together. And he was really happy to work with us. He is hoping to be able to get on with the railroad to work for them. And here's Matt. He was in the thrift store. We have a couple of pictures here of the thrift store. They just have different bins. They have a little bit of everything for sale. Clothing items, sheets, and things. And kind of the way the thrift store works, that's basically how they fund their missionary. That's how they spend, that's how they put the gas in the vehicles to be able to go out and deliver this stuff. It's how there's a couple of paid employees, and that's where they generate their income. So yes, some of the things that we donate do end up in the thrift store. They sell it cheap, and it's still supporting the people that are in need. Actually, while we were there, we helped them out. We bought some clothing items and stuff because most of us, we packed for rain, figuring that it was going to be rainy and damp and stuff, and it was hot and humid instead. So they went in to buy some shorts, and I think it was 50 cents a bag, and you got a free bag with it. So they're pretty well donating it to the people that are in need. They just get a little bit of cash in return to try and keep things moving, to be able to be somewhat self-sufficient, even though they're relying on donations or they have nothing. These here wooden steps, when we were there the last time, we took everything upstairs. We ran up those steps to take everything up. I was very glad that we put everything on the first floor from the tractor trailer this time. We actually unloaded it in like 2 hours and 15 minutes. So we were hustling. Everybody from the group was very busy unloading this stuff. There you can see they had a set of sheets for a bed for $2. So it's just kind of an interesting thing, and I think a lot of the people come in there and they talk to Diane as far as if they have a need and stuff like that. So it's an opportunity for her to talk to the people as well. This is the pile of treetops that we were told that we were going to go and cut. When we were planning on going, we had contacted them as far as cutting firewood, because the time we were down before, they had a great need of firewood. So we said if that was available, we'd go down and cut firewood. We debated about taking a log splitter with us and back and forth, and they said they were treetops. When we were down there the other time, most of the trees I seen were only like this big. And I said, well, I don't know if it's hardly worthwhile. If it's only the treetops of them, I don't know if it's worthwhile dragging the log splitter with. So we went there the first day and started cutting. They showed us the pile of wood, and there was some of them that I couldn't reach my arms around instead of what we seen before. And we got a couple of pictures here of us cutting and splitting wood. We did end up getting 3 trailer loads of firewood cut and split, and we took it out and delivered it. So we did go through a lot of made a lot of firewood while we were there, even though it was bigger stuff. The second day, we waited around for Anthony because he was going to have a log splitter for us. And then when he got there, we found out it had a blown hose and we weren't able to use it. If I would have known, we would have went and started earlier, because I could have found the wood pile the second day. And a lot of it was very naughty. But we had a good time. The ones that went out, Diane helped stack it all. And we had a good time of fellowship, the ones that were there and working. And we did. We got a lot done. This was the first place that we went and delivered a load of firewood to. This was the second one. This was one of the deacons of the church. We went and delivered him a load of firewood. So we took it there. This was the lady, I think, at the first house that we delivered to. Oh, that was the second house. Okay. And that's where her husband was a deacon of the church. There was that. This is one of the houses that we stopped at and we gave the bagged lunches to. Gives you an idea what their houses look like. They're definitely not the nicest of houses. Some of them are, they do have their own problems down there. Drugs are very common down there. It's a shame, especially for the children, because the children are raised in this kind of an environment and they just don't know anything different. It's passed on generation to generation if we don't try and get in there and do something different. There was the load. We took it to Pastor Ricky's church. We took the load of wood there as well and delivered a load there to the church. And this was just around the church. We got some spare tires, I guess, that somebody got rid of at the church. And there's the front of the building. You can't see it because the railing is hiding it, but the front doors, I walked up to look at the front doors, and they had no knobs on the doors. What they had was a chain going through the hole for the one door and coming out the other one with a padlock in between. That's how they locked the church up, which I thought it was interesting. I didn't take any pictures while I was there, and this was just outside the church. They had a little bit of a yard there. I'm going to try and talk to the pastor about maybe going down and starting a community garden in some of the areas, seeing if we could get some help to teach them to be able to do some things. While we were there, they had a festival going on in the town over by the church. And yes, that's an Amish buggy being pulled by a side-by-side. That was their attraction or their amusement. You could get a ride in the Amish buggy. I did not see a single Amishman anywhere around, so I'm not sure where they went to get the buggy. I'm thinking maybe that's an annual thing. That's the big attraction, because I didn't see much else for attraction other than some food stands and stuff. But yeah, you could get your ride in the Amish buggy. This was when they went out to deliver some of the bag lunches. This was one of the driveways that they had to walk up, or one of the lanes to walk up. Oh, and back to the firewood, this lane reminds me. We went up in to get the firewood, and the lane was very steep. Actually, when we came off of the road, the hitch would always hit and dig in, and it was pretty steep going up. We got turned around, got the load of firewood loaded up, and Diane says, "I'm walking down." I am not riding down. And we told Diane that she wasn't allowed to walk. If she was coming with us, she needed the full experience of going down the hill as well. After the first time, I think she was okay, but I think she was very nervous the first time. And but yeah, it was definitely, we had a picture of the lane, but it didn't do it any justice, so we didn't show it. But yeah, it was an adventure just getting up and down to the firewood pile. Nate ended up getting a flat tire the last time out of there, either at the firewood or throughout driving around. Plus the guy, Anthony, that was showing us around, he got a flat tire as well. So we did manage to keep with having a flat tire on our missions trips. Yeah, Anthony is actually supposedly putting a house up there where the firewood is. I'm not sure if he is or not, but we'll let that at that. But supposedly he's putting a house up there. All right, and this is going up through also to the house. This is Vicky's place. I think somebody going to share about Vicky's house, because I wasn't there. I was cutting firewood.
Somehow this became a Wayne and April presentation. I'm not quite sure how that happened, but this is at Vicky's house. When you go with Diane to deliver meals to the children, she always has the children sing for those that are bringing the meals. The oldest girl is Rachel, and the youngest one, who is climbing over the back, that is Margaret. And the missions has a women's program, and they will come to the house, they'll pick the women up, take them back to the missions, and they'll do painting parties, they'll do a craft, they'll have a devotion, and they also let the children participate. They'll have something for them as well while the moms are doing whatever. So they're singing here. While we were there, they expressed to us that Vicky didn't have a refrigerator in her house, and they were talking about her needing a refrigerator. So we had money with us. We went looking to try and find a refrigerator. None of the appliance places were open. And to get to Walmart was, I think, like an hour drive either direction. So we decided when we got home, we would purchase one on Walmart.com, and we would have it delivered to the mission. And they would see that Vicky got that. And they did call Kim and confirm that it arrived, and that Vicky was so excited to know that she was getting a refrigerator. It's not a full-size refrigerator because they don't have a lot that they keep on a weekly basis or a lot of that, but it's enough to at least buy milk, that they could have milk for the children or keep something cold.
I think Kim said she was. Were you going to share something?
I was just going to share what April did. Vicki and the girls were so excited about the paintings that they were able to do. It's something that she has to hang in the house and something that she was very proud of. For myself, when we got back to the house on Saturday evening, we were leaving early Sunday morning to come home. I didn't sleep all night. I laid in a soft bed, and I had blankets, and I had a pillow, and all I could think about were those little girls that didn't even have beds. They're lucky if they have a blanket to sleep on. So it was really a tough time for me. very overwhelming, but very touching. I felt really blessed to be able to go and be a part of it.
All right. And I see there also that they had brought out their projects, their painting projects, and showed them. They were very proud of their projects, the art and stuff that they had done, and wanted to show it to the ones that were there. All right, the next, and this was Phyllis's house. They have 2 trailers put together, and they have the trusses, I guess, built, trying to eventually, another church from here in Pennsylvania actually is purchasing the tin to put on and taking down to put a roof over the trailer so that they no longer leak. That was one of the other places that they took the bagged lunches to as well. That was the weekend after we were there. They had a clothing distribution, same place as we did the food, but they did clothing the following weekend where people could come and get some clothing and stuff. This is just some of the other buildings that are right there around the mission. And for the most part, you can see most of the buildings are abandoned, not used. A lot of them are just boarded up and stuff. Roofs are falling in, windows are busted out, and things like that. This is the stream, and you can see the pipe there. Their sewer and stuff, they just run it basically into the creeks and stuff, and that's a lot of the problems they have is just created by that the water's not good for drinking and stuff. That's one of the bridges that they walk across. It doesn't look very safe. They do have a vehicle on the other side. I'm sure at one time they used the bridge, but now he drives through the creek to be able to get from one side to the other because you just can't drive across the bridge. That's an old supply company building. And old Montgomery Ward's R.C. Kula sign painted on the side of the building down there in the downtown area, I guess you would call it.
Well, after our trip, I had asked Matthew what he wanted for Christmas. He told me he wants to go back to West Virginia and get the kids toys for all the kids that don't have anything like he has at home. And it was just so meaningful for us to know how much it touched him when we didn't realize he was paying attention at all.
And if you think I want to go back, you bet your life I do. Yes, I do.
And I think we have a video of the children at the one house. They sang a song, and then the children that went with are going to sing. So they can come up a while, and if you want to show the video of the girls down there singing.
I have one more thing to share. Kim reminded me. When we went to leave Thursday morning, we were told that we were supposed to stop at Joyce's house. She was going to have some goodies for us. And there was a debate whether the pillows were supposed to go along or not. And so we're like, no, we don't think the pillows are supposed to go, just the bags of goodies. And Joyce, I want you to know the ladies would have loved your pillows. There was a box of pillows that somebody had sent down, and when they set the stuff out on the street for them to take, the one lady yelled to the other, "Hey, there's a whole box of pillars over here." And so they were excited to have pillows, and that was one of the things that really stuck with Janessa. They called them pillars.
Does anybody else from the trip want to share anything? Matt, you want to share? You were going to. want to share something? Do you want the handheld mic? Does anybody else that went with on the trip want to share anything? All right, Matt.
I want to go back and help them fix their roof.
Just one other thing. We have had some people ask as far as whether we are going back. We don't have a time when we will be going back, but we will be going back. Along with our travels, not only did we struggle finding the mission, we struggled where we were staying for the night as well. It was in Gilbert, which was about 30 minutes away. And we drove, other than when April drives, she got it down to 22 minutes or something. I don't know. But I'm the one that gets in trouble for driving fast. But anyhow, when we were headed there, Jason stopped to get ice, I believe it was. And at that point, we were only a little ways away from it. He had talked to Nate and then came over and talked to us and stuff. And said about he was going in for ice, whether we needed anything else, and he was going for ice, and Nate pulled out. So I thought, well, Nate knows where he's going. So Dale pulled out behind him in the tractor. He had dropped the trailer where we unloaded it. He was coming back to get supper with us. And he pulls out, and I pull out. I figure, well, we might as well go. We'll get there and start getting things ready. And we're going out through, and it's like, we've gone too far. It shouldn't have been this far. So I started flashing my headlights to let them know that we ain't going where we're supposed to be. I still have a trailer behind me, and it's like there's not a lot of places to pull around here. And so we're going out through, and I'm like, oh, boy. I finally seen a parking lot where I could just dive off, and it was like a last-second thing that I slammed on the brakes and whipped it in there. And I flashed my lights quick, and I thought, I hope they get the idea that I'm not following them anymore. So I pulled in and pulled back out to the road, and I'm like, now what do I do? Do I head back through trying to find the place? But now they're still going that way. Jason's back getting ice. Who knows where he's at? So, and there's no cell service. It's not like being lost around here where you can just call somebody. So I sat there for a little while waiting and just thinking, and next thing, Nate and Dale, they're coming back through, so they went, and I pulled out behind them, and we're heading back through. Now, the three of us are together. Jason, we have no idea where he's at. No sooner do we get just towards town, and there's Jason. He stopped at a pizza shop, and he's coming out of the pizza shop, and I left him in between us and Dale to head back. Well, the next thing, Jason is passing Dale with the van. I think my mom was ready to have a heart attack because he's there passing. But Jason actually knew where he was going pretty much. He was going to a car wash. The place that we were staying at was right beside the car wash. So we passed the place again and found the car wash and pulled in. And I'm thinking to myself, I'm thinking that Dale was there and thinking, what did he get himself into? We got him lost getting there. We got him lost going to the place. So now we're trying to find the lady that has this cabin and house for rent. Jason's talking to some people that are renting a place on the second story right beside the car wash. And he says, oh, well, you need to go over across the street and talk to the lady in that house. So I thought, while Jason's talking to them, I might as well walk over, because this was 8 o'clock at night, probably 9 o'clock at night. We didn't have supper yet. I'm thinking I might as well move this process on a little bit. I'd walk over to the house. I walk over to the house, and there's two signs there. One about this house being protected by like Smith & Wesson or whatever. And the other sign read, if you can read this sign, thank a teacher. And the rest of it, and I'm thinking, are these guys just wanting entertainment, wanting us to go and knock on this place, or what? And I'm standing there thinking, and the next thing they yelled, the lady's over here. And I'm like, thank God, because I really didn't want to knock on that house. And sure enough, I thought, boy, Dale's going to have enough of that. And we we all got into the parking lot and started taking things in, getting supper ready. And Dale said, I'd like to come back down again and actually stay for the weekend and be able to help out and bring my wife along with. And I was just very pleased about the whole thing. So yes, we are going to be going again. I don't know for sure if it'll be here in the spring or in the summer or the fall, but we will be looking at going again. And it sounds like we'll be taking a whole tractor trailer load of stuff. So that means you guys as a congregation can start saving stuff, and you'll have a place that we can take it to. And also, along with that, anybody that wants to go with, I would encourage any of you to just take the time and go. What a blessing it is, and to realize how blessed we are here in central Pennsylvania compared to 9-10 hours away, how much of a difference it is. And just if you're worried about all the traveling, on the way home, we went a different way and we came right home without any problem. So we do have a better route in and out of the place, and we do know where the mission is and where we stayed and everything like that. I think we can get in and get back out without getting lost at all this time. So I just thank everybody that supported us, gave money donations, gave clothing and everything like that, and everybody that went with. We were able to receive those blessings firsthand, seeing the response from the people and stuff. And I'd just like to take all of you with, so that you guys can all experience and see it firsthand. The pictures show some things, but it's nothing like seeing the actual people and the ones that are just so thankful and thanking God, realizing that it all comes from God and not from us. We're just his vessels that are delivering those things to those people, because God loves them just as much as he loves us. And if there's nothing else, if nobody else has anything, I'll turn it back over to Roger. And thank you all so much for all your prayers. They were felt throughout the whole time, and all your donations as well.
Thank you. Thank you all who went. As Wayne said, if you have an opportunity, please go. It will change your life forever. You'll never be the same. You'll realize that we are indeed blessed. There's so many people that God wants to bless, but he'll bless them through you. You are his hands. You are his feet. Everybody stand, turn to page 185. Our Sunday school lesson was about Sarah having a child in her old age. Now Abraham and Sarah were old and well stricken in age. It ceased to be with Sarah after the manner of women. Therefore Sarah laughed within herself, saying, after I'm waxed old, shall I have pleasure, my Lord, being old also? The Lord said unto Abraham, wherefore did Sarah laugh, saying, shall I of a surety bear a child, which am old? Is anything too hard for the Lord? That is a perfect scripture for our time of anointing. You have anything you think you're going through right now that's difficult? Is there anything too hard for the Lord? Will you come and stand here, and we'll have a general prayer over all of you. You don't need to be a member of the church. If you're visiting today and you have something going on in your life that you need God's help, please come, and we'll pray with you.